guys, welcome back to the channel. It's Lauren. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you're doing well. I have tried to film this video. I think this is the 4th time. Like, it's been a journey trying to get this video up, but I think today's the day. This is probably my most anticipated palette of the year. I'm gonna show you it here. Look at this. Dun dun dun. Oh my gosh. I was like literally stalking their Instagram when they were teasing this, like basically since the beginning of the year. I was like, when is this palette gonna launch? Like, I was setting reminders. I don't even do that much anymore, but I knew this was like one I wanted. I was like, I can't wait for that palette. I mean, an indie brand coming out with a neutral color story. I'm so excited. I feel like I initially got into indie brands because they were doing different things like fun colors, bold colors, different textures, multi-chromes, duochromes, all of that stuff. And so that's great. But now that I like a little more neutrals, I still like color, but you know, I like some neutrals too now. I definitely look at different color stories that come out, and maybe 2 years ago they would have been perfect for me, but now I'm like, oh, how much will I use them? Like, I like it, but you know, maybe not for me now. And this was like, I was like, I think that's the palette. Like, this is it. This is my time to shine. So very anticipated, okay? Very anticipated. We're gonna get into swatches. I do have a demo also for this look. So yeah, I hope you guys will enjoy it. Use timestamps down below. Starting off, this doesn't necessarily matter anymore since it's been so long since I initially talked about this palette, but this is PR. The initial palette I got was PR. I thought maybe it was the one I had ordered because I also ordered this palette. The brand had reached out and had said they were gonna send me some PR, but I also ordered this. I really wanted to make sure that I got this palette because I was that interested in it. Like, I knew I wanted to spend my money on it, but I've also had instances in the past where a brand will reach out and then nothing ever kind of comes to fruition, which is fine. Like, things happen. I don't even know what happens sometimes. I'm not necessarily mad about that, but when it's something I know I really, really want, I'm like, no, I'm gonna get it for sure. So anyway, the initial palette that I had was the PR, and then the new palette, I've actually found a home for it already, so that's great. I know it doesn't necessarily matter. It doesn't really change anything, but just thought, I don't know, I'd clear that up. A little bit about the brand, if you don't know, Glaminatrix is an Australian indie brand. I have one other palette from them. They have one, it's called Silent Night. I ordered that last year and I really liked the shimmers in that. It was like half shimmer, half matte, a little more colorful. And my experience with that palette also made me even more excited for the neutral palette to come out because I really liked the formula of those. And I knew this color story was gonna be more for me. I wanna get just straight into swatches first, so let's just get into the palette. All right, so looking at the palette, it's definitely pretty neutral. I feel like it leans a little more mauve-y. It has some of those kind of rosy tones in it. It also has some greens though, which I think are a fun pop. And you can tell here, which I'm kind of glad I got a chance to wait for this review because a few of the shimmers have had a little bit of like leakage. I've had that happen with other brands as well, but yeah, you can definitely see that after I've had it for about a month now. Going into swatches though, the first shade, Naked Eye, this is a beautiful champagne shimmer. It leans a little bit like a rose gold almost, but it's very light. It reminds me of something in the vein of like Stila's Kitten. It has a beautiful shine on it. It's metallic, but not in a foiled way. It does have some shimmer to it, but it's nice and thin. I just think it's so beautiful. It's kind of like the formula of highlighters almost like, but it's more opaque. Moving on, the next shade is called Naturally. This is a very deep, like plummy purple burgundy type shade. It definitely leans kind of purple, but it's very dark and can almost look black depending on how much you really layer that shadow up. Next is the shade Untouched. This is a mauve-y, dusty, purple rose type of shade. I really love that one. I think it complements a lot of the shimmers in this palette. Next is the shade Unveiled. This is a pink with a really high shine silver sparkle to it. Absolutely beautiful. I feel like this one is even more sparkly than the Naked Eye shade. The first shimmer I showed you guys, this one has a very high sparkle on it. Absolutely beautiful. I really love the shimmers in here. It's like such a high glam look. And then the last shade in the top row, this is called Barely There. It's a nice warm-ish brown, kind of basic, but I think it works really well and I've enjoyed using it every time I have used it. Moving on to the second row, this shade's called Nearly Natural. This is also a very high shine color. It's a little bit deeper than the other two shimmers so far, and this one also, it has like a rosy base to it, and then again also has like a silver sparkle sparkle. This one feels a little more textured also. I don't think it's actual glitter. I'm not sure if it is. I didn't notice that on the ingredients, but it's more chunky like that. Next, we have the shade New Nude. This is a golden shimmery yellow. I find this definitely pulls very yellow, so for me, for the inner corner, I like to wear it with the warmer looks in here. If I wear it with the rosy tone, it definitely just like stands out a little bit more, but it's like a soft gold. Next is the shade Exposed. This is a beautiful green. It's kind of sagey without being too cool toned. I really love this one. Something about it's kind of subtle. It also has a bit of a base on it. It's not quite red, but kind of. It's so pretty. Love this, and I really love the inclusion of, you know, those nearly neutral colors that are in here. I think it makes it exciting, and I really like the variety you can get out of this palette. They're all going to be somewhere in the neutral family, but you can kind of go down different paths, and I really love that. Next is the shade Down to Earth. This is probably the most colorful shadow in here. It's a matte, swampy, olivey green. It has a lot of yellow to it. Like, to single the shadow out, it could be in a lot of like other colorful palettes. I think it's really beautiful, and I love using it with that exposed green shimmery shade for a pretty green look. Stripped back, this is a silvery purple. It has a silver kind of on the top, but the base on it is definitely purple. I think this one's also really fun and like a neutral yet semi-colorful color. The formula on this one is more on the metallic side. It still has some nice shine to it, but it's not as sparkly as the other shades in here, and probably one of the least sparkly shades in the palette. Still beautiful though. Moving on to the final row, the first shade is Simplicity. This is a matte warm tone brown. I feel like this is pretty similar to the other shade in here, Barely There. This one's a little bit more warm, so it has like more of like a yellow base. I think it could have been a little bit more different, honestly, than Barely There, just to add a little more variety, but it does look nice with this next shade, which is Second Skin. This is a beautiful bronze. This has a really nice high shine. It is a golden orangey bronze. There's this slight like red coming through. Absolutely beautiful. I really like this one, just like kind of all over the lid. It's a great summery look, but I think it also will transition really nice into fall. Next is the shade Disrobe. This is a really, really deep charcoaly ashy brown. Like, it's almost like a blackened brown, cool tone type color. This one's really nice because it really looks good with everything in here. This one pairs really nicely with the greens, which I love, but it also pairs really nice to get something cool tone and just really deepen up anything in here. It's gonna add a lot of drama, a lot of depth. This and the other darker shade really can turn this into a nighttime, really glam palette. Second to last shade is Raw. This is a burgundy with again, a silver kind of sparkle in it. This one also has something that feels almost like glitter in it as well, similar to the Nearly Natural shade. This is more burgundy though, really pretty. It reminds me of like a shadow sparkly version of the Charlotte Tilbury Bronzed Garnet color. It's really, really beautiful. And then last, Nothing to See. This is a cool toned, mid-toned neutral shade. I really like this one, especially when I'm going for more of a cooler look. A lot of the shimmery shades in here can pair well with a cool tone or a warm tone, which I think is really nice. There's something about this color that's kind of like suede and velvet. I really, really like that matte. And then here is the palette all swatched out. Absolutely beautiful. I really love that this has so much fun sparkle to it, but then the mattes and like all of the colors really offer a lot of pizzazz, pigment, texture, something, even though they're in more neutral tones and they might not be as bright as other colors or as colorful as other palettes. So that's the palette. I hope you guys enjoyed the swatches and just seeing everything up close. I wanted to give a few of my thoughts before we get into the demo. So far, I've really been loving this palette. Like, it is such a solid neutral palette in my collection. Even though it's a little bit bigger than like what I've been into, I really love, again, the variety that's in here, and I feel like it offers a lot of different places to go. I can go bronzy, I can go mauvey, I can do something kind of cool toned with this purple, and then of course the greens that are in here. I really wish there was something kind of like that minky bronzy color you guys know I love, because there is a lot of emphasis on these kind of rosy tones. Naked Eye, Nearly Natural, Unveiled, and Raw kind of all are in a similar tone. They're all different enough from each other for sure, but I guess if I were doing it, I don't know, it's not my palette, but I feel like one of those could have been a little bit cooler in here, and that would have been kind of fun. I love the ratio of mattes to shimmers. Again, though, the Simplicity matte and also the Barely There, they're similar. Again, different enough, but maybe there could could have been something there. But even with all of that, that's just me being really nitpicky. Like, I really do love the palette. I've done some green looks with this. I'll try to put some clips in. I really loved the green look, like so pretty. I think what I like about it, it's like the glam neutral version of a green eye is what I was going for, and it really just accomplished that. I felt so pretty still, and it still felt neutral in the way I did it with just 1 or 2 shades. Was beautiful, and that's something I really like about this palette. You can easily do 1 shade, 2 shade looks with this, and I really love pairing my shadows like that for every day. Sometimes I like to do more, sometimes I like to, you know, add that 3rd color or even go more than that, but I feel like there's a lot of fun just pairings in here if that's what you want to do, and I like to look at shadows that way, so this palette also works really well for me in that way. Like I mentioned, there is some like grease or like staining happening from the shadows. That's not a deal breaker for me for sure. I don't love to see it, but I've had that with some Odin's Eye palettes that I love, Shine by SD palettes that I love. I've seen that with the Glam Light palettes. Also, it feels like something that happens with indie brands. I don't know what's in the shadows or what makes that happen, but that is happening with this palette now that I've had it for a month. What else do I want to say about the shadows? I mean, it's just pretty. Like, I just love it. I think it's really nice. If you like sparkly neutral looks, I think you're gonna like this. It still has the pigment, which I feel like sometimes when you're going for a neutral palette from a brand that might be at Sephora or whatever, it has neutral shades, but the pigment's a little bit lighter and a little bit more sheer, and you can build it up. This is giving you that like indie pigment, like what you would expect, and I think that's kind of fun and nice. I loved every single look that I've done with this palette so far, so yeah, I'm very happy. I do want to mention, since this is coming from Australia and it is an indie brand, when it comes to ordering, I believe they're doing pre-orders. I'm not really sure. Definitely just check the website, check the Instagram. I just want to preface that because if you haven't ordered from an indie brand before, everyone's different, but definitely check on like their estimated turnaround times when they're going to get things out to you, so that way you know how long it's going to take. I know that it can be excruciating waiting for a palette. If you order something on pre-order and you don't get it for another 2 months, like, you might not be down with that or whatever. Just keep that in mind. Also, because it's coming from Australia, if you're buying from the US at least, I believe the shipping on it's like $20. It might be more worth it for you to buy a couple things at once. Yeah, shipping is just like a thing, you know, like that's just a thing. So I just wanted to mention that because I do think it's like a unique thing with this brand and just most indies, at least with shipping and turnaround times. But because it's also so far away from the US, the shipping is also a real thing. But yeah, I don't know what else to say. I don't want to overcomplicate this review. I mean, it's like a neutral palette. It's beautiful. I really like it. Let's get into the eye look. Okay. All right, let's get into the look. I don't know what I want to do. Probably just something really pretty. I've done lots of different looks with this palette, and oh, all the shimmers are so tempting. I love this. I kind of want to try something light on the lids. I normally go for something kind of medium, mid-tone. We'll just have to see. I'm going to prime my lids just using the Sigma base. I think I'm first gonna go in with the lightest matte brown that's in here, just with a fluffy blending brush. And I'm just gonna be putting that in my crease and also my outer corner. My base is definitely a little tacky, so I like to kind of take my time. And I am bringing it in as well. Because of the lid shade that I'm thinking of using, I want to have some base color in there since it's lighter. All right, I have that laid down. Definitely took my time because that shade, it's like not super dark at all, but it's not like light enough to just be really messy with it. And yeah, I really like how it blended out. And now I'm gonna go in. I'm tempted by this like mauve shade, like the purpley color, but I think I wanna try this one today and go for more of like a classic, more cool toned thing. Even though I put the warm in, I'm not going for something necessarily super smoky, but we'll see where the look takes me. think the brush I'm using had some sparkle on it and I didn't realize. So if you see any of that, it's not from the matte shade. It is literally a deceivingly dirty brush. That's kind of my style, honestly. Even though I did just wash my brushes. That's why I thought it was clean. I haven't used this color yet. This is the first time I'm using the darker, cooler tone, and I really wanted to see how it's gonna play with the other shades in here, and I really like it so far. It's really pretty. All right, so we have that base down. Now, I don't know if I just wanna like tap this on or what I wanna do. I also am like thinking kind of maybe, well, that's still kind of light. I'm just gonna tap this one. I really want that all over my lid. Naked Eye. That color is so pretty. Oh, if you're a fan of like Stila Kitten, you're gonna love that. And then just in that outer corner, I'm gonna take that same kind of gray shade, like cool tone brown really, and I'm just tapping over the ends because I bring the shimmer all the way over and this just kind of replaces that color down and does a little blending. Ooh, it's so pretty. Like just what a classic little look, right? I'm gonna use my Pat McGrath highlighter for my brow bone inner corner type stuff, just cause like the lighter shade, well one, I'm kind of using it on my lid, but the lighter shade than that one is very gold and yellow leaning, and I don't wanna really add that to my look today. You know, just to add a little spice, I'm gonna add some of this shade Raw in that outer corner. I'm just gonna tap it right here. What this just reminded me, it's like this palette's gonna be so good for fall. I'm really excited for that. I'm just taking this bronze liner for my lower lash line and I'm gonna top over it, but I just want something for shadow to grip onto. I'm also gonna tightline a little bit. And then I'm taking that same kind of gray shade and just blending that up and meshing it with the upper lid. All right, last step, some mascara. All right, guys, so here is the final look. I have very minimal fallout and sparkle on my lower cheeks, so that's kind of nice. I mean, that's not make or break at all for me, because I just like do my own thing and I don't really mind a little messy and some shimmer everywhere, but just something I thought I'd note. Really love this look. I like that little bronze, like garnet kind of color that I tapped on at the end. I really think it added something extra and I like it a lot. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed the look. I hope you guys enjoyed the review, the swatches. I hope it was helpful if you were like looking into this palette or the brand in general. I really have been enjoying my palette. I love the colors in here. It's like inspiring and exciting. It's like luxe and glam and like everything I'm into. So definitely highly anticipated, and I feel like it delivered with the shadows that are in here. But yeah, I'm gonna leave it here. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'm so excited to finally be getting this video up. My goodness, it's been long awaited on my end. I have been wanting to get this off my list, but I just felt a little too burnt out. Like after I had done that many, I was like, okay, I need a break. Like I can't do this again, but I'm excited to finally get it up to you. So I hope you enjoyed the video. Thanks so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Bye guys.